Welcome to Just Takes One's fall preview of middle grade books. These are books going to come out from August to December, maybe one or two a little earlier than that because I didn't want you to miss them. But these are some of the best books I see coming out this fall. I got it broken down into 5 categories: notable authors, interesting notable books, new series, nonfiction, and slow burn. Slow burn are those books I really like, but I think it's going to take a little bit for them to take off. It may take 4, 5, 6 months for the popularity to grow and for students and readers to really find them and see how fantastic these books really are. All right, so we're going to start off with notable authors. First is Kate DiMicalo, and Beatrice Prophecy comes out September 28th. It's already got 4-star reviews. You know Kate's work, fantastic books over the years. And Beverly Right Here has been one of the top books the last few years, and When Dixie and Tell Despero has always been great. Next up is Once Upon a Camel, comes out this week. Fantastic book by Katherine Applegate. It's just it's about a camel in Texas. Some of you might not know that after the Civil War, American soldiers, U.S. Army brought camels over to test them out in the Southwest. Realized they didn't like them and just kind of let them go. And so it's just kind of a fictionalized story of a camel and who becomes a nest for 2 birds and what happens afterwards. Very sweet story. I think you're really going to like it. Janae Marks, A Soft Place to Land, comes out September 14th. Her debut book was From the Desk of Zoe Washington. It made 12 state lists, counting many awards, many star reviews, and Soft Place to Land's already getting good reviews coming out, a couple of stars just before it gets released. Fantastic book. It's really got a lot of stories layered in within the main story. So I think it'll surprise a lot of people. Dusti Bowling's got another one, Across the Desert, comes out October 12th. She wrote the Cactus series and Grand Canyon's Edge, all fantastic books. Across the Desert is featuring a girl who sets out to rescue a plane crash victim. The plane crash victim is actually a girl she follows on the internet who's doing this cross-country thing in this flight. She's a young teenage pilot, and just ends up crashing in the desert. She kind of knows very well because it's close to her. So she goes out to help find her. Birdies about Katherine Paterson comes out October 5th. I didn't get a cover yet. It was still finalizing when I created this, but it's really cool. It's a really good military family book. It features a young girl, and her father's overseas, and him coming home and kind of just the things they tell themselves to make it through, when or if they're going to come home. Very endearing tale. I think it's got a really good place for, and especially a lot of markets with military families, or schools with a high military student rating. Riordan and more. So The Cursed Carnival and Other Calamities, new stories about mythic heroes, comes out September 28th. Think all the Riordan characters, all the people who write books and their main characters, all going to get quick short stories in this collection. So it's a short story collection. And I think it's really cool. It's going to be interesting to see. It's already had a couple star reviews. So if your kids are a fan, or your students are a fan of Riordan series, just is a great little addition, and they get a little extra story from everyone. RJ Palaco's got her first book out of the Wonderverse. Outside the Wonderverse, excuse me. It comes out 9/28. Pony. It's about a boy and a pony in search for his father who are aided by a ghost. Very different when she's done, but it's already got a couple of star reviews. I think it's gonna be enjoyable. It's different. I like it because it's something new from her. And take a look at it. And Clare LeZotte, Set Me Free, comes out September 21st. It is the companion to the award-winning Show Me a Sign. So check it out. Sam, our character's new story with an additional new character into it. So it's that diversity, that disability diversity that you're looking for. This is a perfect one for you. Joel Parker Rhodes, Paradise on Fire, comes out 9/14. Very cool book about a girl who's grieving for her parents' loss, is sent to a outdoors woodsy survival kind of camp to get away from everything, and her and the other kids there get caught in a forest fire, and it's about them working together and overcoming their all emotional needs at the same time. Very sweet, endearing book with a lot of suspense going on. Gary D. Schmidt. This is one of those ones a fun book. One Smart Sheep comes out October 26th. It's pretty much just a sheep going, a curious sheep goes on an unexpected adventure. So, you know, stuff like that, just like that, and Pay Attention, Carter Jones. Good, funny books, something you can enjoy. Kelly Yang, Room to Dream, comes out September 21st. It's the third book in the Front Desk series. Technically not a series, but it's a front desk novel. Very, very cool. Another great addition to the series, the set. And then she also wrote Parachutes that came out last year. It is a young adult novel. So if you have a young adult reader in your household or more students, very cool book. It got lost in the pandemic last year, but it's a book you shouldn't miss. But it is a little more mature, so I would not recommend it for middle grade. And Ursula, Troubled Girls of Dragomir Academy, comes out October 21st. She wrote The Real Boy and The Lost Girl. Really cool book about a young girl who gets sent off to academy after her brother gets sent off to a sorcerer's academy, and the connection that she makes with the other girls there and what their real purpose is going to be. Lisa McMahon, Clarice the Brave, comes out October 21st. She wrote the Unwanted Quest series, the Unwanteds. It's about a mouse survival story on a boat, and very kind of different. I kind of got an American Tale kind of feel to it, but I haven't really. I think it's a little different from that. But if you grew up with American Tale, I think you'll find a place for this. Willow Dean, I like Katherine Applegate. I mean, you know her works, the one and only Ivan and Bob. The ending series has been really great. Willow Dean is just a new fantasy series about nature, balance, and friendship. Nic Stone's Fast Pitch came out just recently. Nic Stone's Clingaway, Diller Martin, fantastic books. Fast Pitch is about a girls' softball team, and the captain of that team, who's kind of going through a lot of home life stuff at the same time. Her team is the only all brown and black team in the league, and so she's got to deal with that, and everything kind of piles on, and she starts losing her edge in the game playing softball. And now she's got to deal with not only the family issues at home, the emotional issues she's going with, that her teammates aren't supporting her like they used to. Cammie McGovern, Frankie and Amelia, is a companion to Chester and Gus. Same characters, adding a new character into it. It's got a gun. It's got the neurodiversity in it. So another fantastic book. Comes out October 26th. Mary Dunning Hahn, The 13th Cat. Comes out September 7th. She writes up, she's a great middle grade horror suspense writer. You're going to get that every time with her books. So those kids who like a little more scary books, a little more intense books, these are great books for that. Padma Venkatraman, and I know I butchered that, and I apologize, Padma. Born Behind Bars. She wrote, The Bridge Home, Time to Dance. That comes out September 7th. Born Behind Bars has already got multiple starred reviews. I want to say 3 already, 2 at least. It's about a boy who was born inside the jail to his mom. At age 8, the new warden comes in and kicks him out, and he's sent to live with an uncle who's not really an uncle. And deals with so much stuff. It talks about poverty, multiculturalism in India, racism, xenophobia, all kinds of great stories. Also a little bit of human trafficking as well. Many things to worry about in it, but it's also so well done that your kids will love this story. Jerry Finelli, Dead Wednesday, came out earlier this year, August 3rd. It's really kind of a weird, different story. A boy trying to live down a bad nickname he got, and this school he goes to has a weird tradition of one day a year they get assumed somebody's name that had passed away the previous year, and he gets this girl who passed away the previous year, and as his day goes through, the ghost appears from him. And now he's got to deal with that as well as he's trying to find himself in this mess and try to find out who this girl really is. Katherine Arden, Dark Waters. If you like Dead Voices and Small Spaces, it's another one follow up to those 2 books that came out August 3rd. Another enjoyable, one of her terrifying, scary, kind of fun books at the exact same time. Gary Paulsen, How to Train Your Dad. Another fantastic, funny book from Gary Paulsen. You kind of know what he's going to give you there every time. It's about a boy and his dad, and the dad's really kind of easygoing and loose, and he's more by the book. He has to have lists. He's got a certain way to do stuff. So he takes a puppy book, trying to train his dad to be more like him, so more under how he can control it a little better and not kind of chaotic life that they have. Very cool book. Also, Gary Paulsen earlier this year released Going Into the Woods. It's a autobiography set for middle grade readers about how he became a writer and how he discovered reading at a young age thanks to the librarian. So that's another fantastic book that came out earlier this year. Ryan Sleslek, Kaleidoscope. You know his work. Very cool book. A lot of imagery drawn through it. Tells a story. Kaleidoscope is the exact same aspect. It comes out 9/21. If Hugo Cabré and Wonderstruck have done really well for you, this will be another book to easily slide in. Donna Barber Higuerea, The Last Siesta. It's her follow-up book to the Belfry winner honor book, Lupe Wong Won't Dance. This time it is set in the future where the human civilization has to leave Earth and they're all on a ship put to sleep. And when they all wake up, only this one girl actually remembers Earth and what the Earth was like. So it's a very cool tale, different take on a sci-fi tale, different from what she did before, but I think it's really good and enjoyable. Kate Alice Marshall, Barakah Beats, which is a follow-up to 13, which got a lot of press. It got a little bit lost last year, but it was still a really good book. It's a direct sequel to it, so it's a nice mystery tale. Suspense, fantasy magic tour, so a lot of stuff going on. Give a child 13 a chance, and then get yourself Barakah Beats to follow on. The kids will really like it. Jamie Summers, One Kid's Trash. This is kind of different. I really like Jamie's book. She does a lot of diversity in her neurodiversity and physical diversity in her books. Roll with it, tune it out, both fake books. One Kid's Trash. This kid is a new boy in school, and he's got the power of garbology, which means he can study somebody's garbage and tell him what's going on in that person, what that person's like. And it kind of makes him the cool kid in school until he gets a little bit of big head about it. So very cool tale about a lot of stuff kind of going on socially at the same time. I liked it. Sharon M. Draper, Out of My Heart. It's a sequel to Out of My Mind. Out of My Mind did really well for you. A lot of people really liked it. It comes out September 28th. Rick Riordan got his own book coming out. Daughter of the Deep is a new take on 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea featuring Nemo's daughter. So, you know, Rick already does really great storytelling. You can expect this. That comes out October 5th. And the final book for notable authors is Jason Reynolds and Ronald III are doing a book together. Stunt Boy in the Meantime comes out November 9th. A really cool book. Story by Jason Reynolds. Drawings throughout by Ronald III. It's about a boy superhero who's a superhero for his building and about his building and how the other buildings are kind of different from his. It's going to be fun. You guys, a lot of stuff from them. You know they're with it, how they do it. You're going to enjoy this. All right, notable picks. First one up is Barefoot Dreams of Petraluna. This is already getting a huge amount of praise and acknowledgement by Alder Dobbs. Comes out September 14th. It features the 1913 Mexican Revolution, so a lot of times it's something we don't hear about. Asylum seekers during that time period. It's got a multi-generational cast, and the main character is really a girl who wants to learn to read, at the same time keep her family safe. So it's a really about education and how important it is and how people overcome stuff. Honest June comes out at the very end of the year, December 28th. Tina Wells. It's really kind of a fairy tale fun book. I think fairy tale liar mashup about no longer can tell that little white lie or a little lie to your friends. She actually has to be honest to everything. And it's about school and peer pressure and dealing with anxiety. And again, this has passive diversity, which passive diversity is something I kind of like to use as a term as, yes, the characters are diverse, but the diversity doesn't really play a major factor in the story. They might have nuances to the story, it changes, but Honest June, you could switch her to an Asian girl, a Hispanic, or a white girl, and your story overall is going to be the same, just slightly different. But so it doesn't really affect the overall arc, is the race of the character. And now I think that's always a good way to also have it, diversity in your characters. Just a normal person, don't always have to be race-driven storyline. Joseph Azim is Not a Hero, comes out 9/8 by C. Farquet. He wrote The Place at the Table and 1,000 Questions. It's about the 20th anniversary of 9/11, which shockingly is this year. It's about racial profiling and prejudice, about a small Texas town and the new Muslim mosque opening up and old feelings coming back up and people being stupid. And it's got a young Muslim boy lead. And I think it's going to be really good. I really enjoyed it. Playing the Cards You're Dealt. Varian Johnson. You know, he wrote Parker Inheritance, came out 2 years ago now. Fantastic book. It's about a boy, and finally gets to be able to play cards with his uncles and his dad. He's reached the age, and as he starts playing, and he's got all these parental expectations and his family legacy, he kind of realizes that he doesn't really like everything that the men around the table are saying, and he, you know, it has a lot about toxic masculinity and the boy realizing what's going on and how it's not really right, and how does he deal with it. It comes out October 5th. You check it out. How to Find What You're Not Looking For. Veer Hadani, horrible names. Comes out 9/14. This is, you know, a different story about Loving versus Virginia, which was the end of the ban on interracial marriage. And it features a different kind of cast. It has a young Jewish woman and a young Indian boy, and about a girl whose sister is the young Jewish woman getting married to the young Indian boy, and about prejudice and anti-Semitism from both sides. You know, the Jewish family has some prejudice against the Indians, and then the Indian family has some anti-Semitic thoughts at the same time. And so this girl just wants to see her sister happy. So it's a very sweet tale. A lot of stuff going on into it, but it's a really good emotional learning tale. Barakah Beats, by Melanie Sadiq. This is going to be a fun book. Just one of those things people are going to enjoy. It's about fitting in a new school. It's got a Muslim lead and some of the traditions she's got to do with, and conflicting with those traditions because what really makes her happy and how she wants to fit in. About social acceptance, about a young Muslim girl who goes to new school and joins the all-boy band and just kind of has a blast, but she does everything in her life as well. Comes out October 19th. I think this is going to be a fun book. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one, and it's going to be just the first, you know, we'll see more from Aaliyah in the future. Living Ghosts, Mischievous Monsters, Chilean American Indian Stories. Baden Sakui Jones and Arba Wishu TV, and I probably butchered your names and I apologize. Comes out this week. Think Native American version of Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. That's all I can really say it. What it does is take Native American folklore and stories and writes it up into a story format, a short story format for kids to come into. So, you know, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark has been a fantastic hit for many, many years. This will be the next kind of one. I think a lot of people will like it because it is so diverse in the Indian tribes they touch and the stories they tell, and the artwork within is just going to make it even greater. Losing Home. This book came out a little earlier this year. It came out in July. July is a weird month for books. It's kind of a dead month for a lot of books, but it came out and I didn't want y'all to miss it. Kenan Trebetnik wrote this book. It's a refugee story about the Bosnian Wars in the 1990s and family issues kind of coming to the United States after being in the Bosnian War and everything going on. I think it's a really nice follow-up read for Everything Sad Is True. Great paired fiction and nonfiction. Give you kind of the same aspects, different ways presented, but very good, cool book. I think it's going to take it almost was a slow burn, but I really liked it. And I wouldn't want it to go like, okay, it's going to pick up a little faster. Shelter. Shelter is one of those books you've been kind of waiting for a while. Christy Madison's middle grade debut. It's about homelessness, and bullying, and emotional struggles and social struggles, all going through about a young homeless girl trying to go to school and still trying to do stuff as she struggles with not having a home and things being chaotic in her life. But how school is kind of her guiding place, and then the bullying she gets from it. It comes out October 12th. Don't miss this one. I think it's going to be a really emotional tearjerker at times, but I think kids will really understand very many things. It's kind of like it's the food pantry, Saturday at the food pantry book that I presented in my elementary book. It will give kids an idea of something they don't understand and make them better people for that, because they'll understand and have more empathy for the people. So I think Shelter fits that book aspect. Piece by Piece, a story of Nazim Hajib by Priya Huig. Graphic novel set in Oregon after 9/11. Got Muslim leads. It talks about hate crimes and family struggles. A girl she is actually attacked out in the street and how she felt about it because of that, and they ripped off and just overcoming that and her family supportiveness and some of the crappy things people did after 9/11 to Muslim people. Polo Cowboy comes out October 21st by Janae. It's a sequel to Ghetto Cowboy. Many of you probably remember Ghetto Cowboy. It became a Netflix movie earlier this year. So kind of nice follow-up sequel to this. What About Will comes out 9/14. This is one of the first middle grade books about opiate addiction that really kind of touches it, and it touches so much other stuff by Ellen Hawkins. It's novel and verse. It's got deals with her Will's younger brother is trying to deal with Will's injury. He was injured in playing football, or I think it's football. Now I'm spaced. I'm sorry, but he got PCS, post-concussion syndrome, and some of the after effects of that stuff, and how he had mental health issues and he got addicted to opiate, and how the family is more almost kind of worried about covering it up than actually dealing with it. Very emotional tale. Opiate addiction has been a rampant problem, and this is a great middle grade introduction. I have 2 or 3 books on a young adult list that deals with this too, so it's a fantastic way to introduce them, because especially in the last year, opiate addiction has even increased more, which is sad to say, and this will give some of these kids who are struggling with that with some home life, so maybe some hope for it. All right, so we're now going to go to new series, Maya and the Rising Dark. Now, Maya came out a little earlier this year, came out in June. The second book did. Maya and the Rising Dark came out last year, just as the pandemic really kind of shut everything down. These books are so great. I don't want you to miss them. Great characters, African mythology. Just, you need to make sure you step in time and go get Maya and the Rising Dark, and go ahead and get Maya and the Returning of the Godlings, because you're going to love both of them. They're so fantastic. They're written by Rena Barron, and just don't want to miss them. World Click. You know Caitlin Mira, her great books, the Click series, the 4th book Clash came out recently. Besties, it's kind of the spin-off series. Here's this new series, and then a brand new series with new characters. Comes out October 5th, graphic novel. So if the Click series does really well for you, just grab this one, because you know it's going to do well. Is there Theives of Shadows, kind of a new book by Kevin Sands. Children of the Fox is the 1st book, comes out on October 5th. Kind of like Ocean's 11 for kids, but with a little magic and fantasy twist to it. Gonna be a fun series that can have some, deadly consequences if they're not done right. But I think it's gonna be a fun adventure series you kids might be looking for. Bamboo Kingdom, Creatures of the Flood, 1st book. It's Aaron Hunter. It's a new series, a new dawn rising. Just fantastic. You know Aaron Hunter. You know her work. If the Warrior series do well, get this one, because it comes out September 28th. The Outlaws. The 1st book is The Outlaw, Scarlet and Brownie. Comes out. It's really kind of a cool book. Kind of fantasy mix. It's about a teenage girl that does bank heist, and somehow this other boy who's being hunted gets tied with her, and there's some tragic accidents, and it becomes a man and woman hunt after them. Very cool book. I think it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to how the series turns out. It's a new Rick Riordan Presents, Paolo and the Soul Seeker. Comes out this week. Fantastic book by Lori Lee. Southeastern Asian mythology. So a new area of mythology they're touching. Rick Riordan series are always good. They do a really good job picking good writers and them creating good stories that follow under that banner. History Smashers. Now, History Smashers came out last year. Some of you may already know it. They're fantastic books. The Mayflower was the 1st book, but it came out just as the pandemic started widening up. And there's a new book about every 4 months. So there's 6 of them out now. I don't really want to make you. They do a real good job at doing nonfiction stories, and they're making it fun and engaging and easy to read and learnable at the same time. Amir and Hamza, the 1st book in the series, The War to Save the World, comes out September 21st by Samir Haim, who wrote Interment in Love, Hate, and Other Fillers. The brother and sister adventure, and it's got Islamic mythology within it. And it's already got 2-star reviews. So check this one out. Who was series? It's now a graphic novel. So it's like when I mentioned in the elementary list about Magic Treehouse getting graphic novels, and now these get graphic novels. So you can expect them. I don't know how many they're going to launch every year. They're doing 4 at launch. I expect 2 to 6 a year, 4 to 8 a year, maybe 2 every semester, every season, maybe 4 twice a year. I don't know exactly yet. They don't have their schedule quite out for it. But who is now in graphic novels? Disney's Lost Legends. So the first book is going to be Rise of Flynn Rider. It's about it's a series about the boys, sidekicks throughout the story. So now they get their own tales, how their origin stories. So it should have good appeal for both boys and girls. All Disney fans will really like it. Gives them a chance to learn about a little bit more about the characters who don't get all the screen time. Classic Remix series. Really enjoyed the series. It kind of got lost last year, the first book, because of the pandemic again, which lost so many books. The Secret Garden at 81st Street comes out September 28th. It's a retelling of Secret Garden, more diversity, more city, it's a little bit more urban with city. They did Little Women last year, which is really well done. And I'm expecting more every season, at least one a year, maybe 2 a year. This is more for your nonfiction fans, series-wise, fact and fiction, American history. 6 books to take a look at different eras and do facts and fiction and myths, all that stuff, and tell you what thing people say they think happens and then what actually happened. Pandemics. It compares the Spanish flu and COVID-19. So really kind of different aspects of how to do different areas, testing, treatment, viral spread, cultural shift. Very good telling story of what's going on now. Now, Money Tells is the series that kind of defaults in the corner. You see the age range. I put it K to 12 because I really didn't know where to put it. It's such a unique series written by Sheila Blair, the former chair of the FDIC, because it can fit in curriculum in a lot of places. It's a book about money and different aspects, about taking loans out and needs over wants and so many aspects. So it's got a really good introduction to economics and that aspect of it. So I think it could be a quick, enjoyable read, kind of give you the break of the high school regular, but it'll be really good for young adult audience and young children's audience, elementary and middle grade, to really understand the importance of money and how to spend it and what's going on. The kids got a really good potential about being careful about contracts and loans and percentages or wants over needs. And it's got a nice little back matter aspect of it to really teach them mathematics of it. So very cool. Take a look at the series. I hope they do a year. We'll see. All right, now we're going to run to nonfiction. The very book is The History of Dessert. So it's just a fun graphic novel book about desserts, and it's got recipes in it. It's just got, a lot of people like desserts, like all kind of desserts. So it kind of gives you a telling of different stuff and where it came from. Very cool book. Make your own money. Our kids earn it, save it, spend it, dream with it. And with Danny Dollar, King of Ching. It's really what it is. It's a good how-to book about money and how to be careful with it, and how to save it, how to spend it right. So check it out. Black Hole Chasers, the amazing true book of astronomical breakthrough, is going to be a really cool book. The history making of the black hole. It's kind of like how that was done. It's very cool, very good science book, good for book reviews, book reports. We the People, infographic look of the American presidency, exactly what it says. It comes out on December 7th. We know infographics work really well for students to learn on. Now they got one about the American presidency. Pests and Pets comes out September 7th by Andrew Worrell. It's his first book in a new series called Oddball Histories. So it kind of gives you a book on different animals. It's got an older comic book feel to it. But why we need how ecosystems work and why we need certain animals and what this. So very cool. Another fun book. Crazy Horse and Custard, Born Enemies. This is a dual biography about Crazy Horse and General Custard. So very cool, and how they were kind of going to meet someday. Killers of the Flowery Moon, another Young Readers edition of hog murders and the birth of the FBI. A great indigenous history book, and the importance of what happened there and why, and coming from that. A Man Called Horse, John Horse and the Black Seminole Underground, another indigenous book, Native American book that we've been needing. Great history book. I'm looking really forward to this. Threads of Peace, How Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King Changed the World. Another dual biography about peaceful transitions and wanting better, civil rights, all kinds of stuff. It came out August 17th, and it's got a star review with it. Colossus, the most amazing feats of engineering. Very cool book. This is a British bring over. It comes out October 5th. Really cool book about how things were built and the science and the technology and the engineering aspects going into it. So very cool for those people who are really into engineering and science and mathematics. I think they'll really enjoy this book. Dark Hearts, kind of a cool book. It's a, you're always looking for biographies, especially literary biographies about writers. This has got like 12 or 13 quick, smaller biographies about famous horror writers. It comes out at the very end of the year. Slow Burn. Again, Slow Burn is these books I think will take a while to take off, but I think they'll be good sellers, really good for readers, get some reviews, and really enjoy them. Just Roll With It comes out October 5th. Lead of Fanny Lavoie. It's a graphic novel, deals a lot with anxiety and OCD and finding your own place in the world and school. And the girl who and lead has anxiety, OCD, and she uses the D20 dice from Dungeons and Dragons to help make her decision. So kind of different. I really enjoyed it. Kind of spark. Ellie Nicole debut book, really kind of different. I like it. Talks about local history and the history of the witch trials that happened centuries before, hundreds of years before. It's got an autistic lead. And the young girl there wants to really memorialize these people because she has a feeling that these witches at the time period might have been more like her, just a little different, and had neurodiversity at the time. They didn't understand neurodiversity, and she just wants to really connect to these people who passed away and make sure they're remembered. The Samosa Rebellion comes out September 21st by Shante Saram, middle grade debut. It's in India, deals with relocation camps, xenophobia, multi-generational, and about a secret rebellion that comes up underneath all of it. So very cool book. I'm looking forward to this. Swag in the Socks. Kind of different little book by Kelly J. Batiste. It's about a coming age story about a boy kind of coming out of his shell. His great uncle gives him some crazy socks, and about just finding who you are. At the same time, trying to deal with some family traditions and becoming your own self between your family and your school. Comes out November 2nd. Tide Song. Wendy Zhu, she is the artist from Mooncakes. This is her solo debut, so I think it should do really well. I think there'll be an audience that really like it. It's magical fantasy. It's dragons. It's about self-acceptance and family troubles and dealing with your own legacy. In the graphic novel format. So always a new story, graphic novel is always a good thing. Beast and Beauty, Dangerous Tales. So this is by Summer Chunny. She takes 12 fairy tales and remixes them, does some gender role swapping, and does a really good, cool, different fairy tale aspects for that fairy tale curriculum you're looking for, or the kids who really like fairy tale. Get 12 short stories about that. Comes out September 28th. Missing Oakley comes out September 7th by Laura Ojimana. It's really about a young girl and her sister. Her older sister is more popular. It's kind of the face of the family. Everybody really loves her. She's always been kind of hidden back, never really stood out. And her and her sister have this weird, stupid tradition about crossing this river, and it goes tragically wrong, and her sister passes and dies from it. And it's about the families dealing with the loss and struggling with it. And the girl trying to find herself afterwards and trying to step out of the shadows she made for herself when she hid behind her. And it's got a lot of bullying with it, but it's really strong in empathy. I think it's going to be really well done. And Rules for Vampires. This is just one of those fun reads. You needed escapism. You needed something to relax, not have to worry about anything. Out there, folks book, Rules for Vampires, probably going to beat that. Comes out September 5th. It's vampires versus ghosts. So, I mean, we had zombies versus unicorns. Why can't we have vampires versus ghosts? So take these books. It's going to be one of those books that your kids will probably read and enjoy. And I think that's always a nice escapism. And that's going to wrap it up for middle grade physics from Just Take One. I really hope you enjoy it. There's will be an elementary and a young adult one. If you haven't checked those out, please do. And if you like the books, and if you like the books, make sure you comment about it in the comments below, or share it to somebody so they can see it as well. And I hope you enjoy these books. And until next time, thank you and read again.